Hello and welcome to episode 79 of the TRUUMAN Podcast, the podcast designed to create a generation of self-defined men. Today, I'm joined by Gordon Moffat. Gordon, it's an absolute pleasure. How are you doing today?
Very well, thank you very much, Lewis. Thanks for having me on, and thanks to everyone listening.
Good. We've just spoke about this, so here we go. In your own words, what makes you a man?
Still many ideas. Still not locking it down, but I'm going to commit to one now. For me, being a man is to be it's more about behaviour. It's to be adaptable, to be changeable, and not too stuck within yourself. To hold yourself or how you identify yourself lightly. Bit about my background: I was a ski instructor. COVID hit, and no longer am a ski instructor. I'm an ex-ski instructor. I didn't have kids. I've now got 3 kids. I'm now a father. So the role always changes, I think, but it's to try and keep yourself, try and keep responsibility, and try and keep being true to yourself, and always just kind of, sit back and not react all the time. Think about what you are, how you want to be seen by the world, and that's how you'll be able to be shown. But I was sitting with my son last night, as I told you. He climbed into bed, and I was just trying to think. And one thing that came to my mind was just bamboo. And it's strong under compression. You can build scaffolds. I've seen it in Asia, up as high as you like. It works together. But it's flexible, it's movable, but it's adaptable, and it grows quick. And I thought that's exactly what you would like to be as a man. To be strong when you needed to be, but flexible, move in the wind. I relate back to Qigong. That's move within the wind. It's bamboo in the wind. You're moving, but you're supple and you can move. You're not going to break and snap every time you have a bit of pressure. So that's what it means to me, really, I suppose.
Nice. I really like that. That's an interesting way of looking at it. One thing that I've not asked anyone yet, but I'm going to ask you because you've obviously made the notes and gone through the process, is the idea around the question is the process of thinking about the question. There is no right answer to it.
Yeah.
It's more around that. So how did you find exploring that or asking yourself that question?
It was tricky. It's probably what you thought when you were thinking why it came down to such a short question. It's what, you could have asked it many ways, but it's open to interpretation. I took it through from behaviour. How do you behave as a man? I thought that's not quite it. Though, what's manliness? Then it got down to be, what are you? Just simple. It's a man. But from then it's like, how do you want to be seen as a man, as a boy, as a father? And that's when I thought you're always changing. I couldn't really define it, because every time I thought I had an idea, I was like, oh no, but that's changed. I've changed. And I was looking at my son. I thought, what would I like him to be as a man at 18, at 20, at 40? I thought it's never definable, but I was trying to think of what's one core thing that I would like him to keep with him through his whole life. And that's why the kind of flexibility last night came through, but that just strength and being there, being just responsible, really, whether it's to yourself or a company if you're working, or your society, part of a group. I thought that's the same thing. It's just, you want to be dependable, like anything, like bamboo, building a scaffold. You can't do it by yourself, but if you get a group of men together that are responsible and hold things together, then you can really achieve anything.
Yeah, like I say, I don't think there is an answer. I think it's more the practice of asking it yourself, and that's what I want more men to do.
It's very introspective. It took a long time to answer. It took a long time. I had to commit to one now. I was still thinking about 10 o'clock last night, and you sent me that message out last week. I was like a whole week of it thinking, and it changed so many times. But that's why it's such a great question, but so undefinable. But it is true to yourself, whatever you believe it is.
Yeah, amazing. I appreciate you giving it some thought, and I hope that encourages listeners to also give it some thought as well. Gordon, why don't you tell the listeners a little bit more about what it is that you do now? You mentioned you're no longer a ski instructor, but what is it that you do now?
Yes, so it's been sorry, I keep touching my nose there. It's been a long, changeable career for me. But I moved from Scotland. I kept my accent and moved to Australia in my teens. Grew up there. Went to university, and then became a ski instructor. And just really, the difference in lifestyle in Australia was from coming from Glasgow, from Scotland, to just suddenly, wow, this magical land. Everybody was behaving different, doing different things. I learned how to surf and found out there was snow in Australia and became a ski instructor. Get asked to come to Japan. Went to Japan pre-internet, didn't know anything about it. Turned up and loved the place. Moved to Bali. Stayed there pre-Instagram, pre-influencer, and then moved back to the UK 10 years ago. 10 years ago yesterday, actually. But from then, it's been a bit of a journey for myself. I always kept fit. And when I was in Japan once, I was speaking to a guy, and I more or less got a bit lost, I would say, from going from being outdoors, being fit. Had quite good self-care. Obviously, you made decisions that you probably wouldn't make on what you did with your free time, substance, alcohol, things like that you probably weren't doing a good choice on. And from there, I spoke to a guy about meditation. He taught Quicksilver athletes, like big wave surfers, and I was like, what's going on here? This guy's doing meditation. I thought it was dreadlocks and sandals that did that. And I was there, and we were in a bar, and he was drinking whiskey, and I was like, this is odd. Like this. So I fell down into that route. Lockdown happened. I loved my running, tried to get fit, and being a coach for 20 years, I started then become a running coach, a more experienced running coach, did a level 2. And then from that, I started going down towards breath work, started doing working on my breathing, really helped my meditation, helped my mindfulness, started stretching, and then obviously started coaching that. And from now on, I'm falling into coaching running, breathing, and a lot of stress work. Burnout's a big word that gets thrown about, but it's probably only because it's easy to describe that. So I'm working with a few executives, football players, working on burnout, but more or less just coping mechanisms for them, for dealing with stress and sleep a lot of the time.
Let's unpick that a little bit. Why do you think burnout has become such a buzzword in corporate world?
For me, I think it comes down to manliness as well. It's mindfulness, meditation. It's quite, for want of a better term, effeminate. A lot of people, you go to a yoga class, most guys know it's best, it's good for you, you should stretch.
Yeah.
You won't see any men there. I did a mindfulness class, men only, to try and get guys to come. Not a single one turned up. I had a mixed group, 10 ladies turned up to it the first day. I went and seen a men's group. They were men's shed. They thought, oh, that's a great idea, lovely, yeah, great, we'll help you promote it. 2 guys that were in it. Do you want to come as well? Oh, no, it's not for me. So it's just, but I think that burnout, it seems quite a manly, blokey thing. Yeah, I got burnt out. You can accept that. You pulled your leg, you snapped this, you did that. It's active. I'm burnt out. I was working too hard. I was pushing it too much. I'm a high-powered executive. I got burnt out. I was training too hard. It's acceptable then to do that. It's like, I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Not got the same connotation.
Interesting. I like that. Burnout is the manly version of overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I did too much work, not that my stresses were sort of built up. That was one of the first conversations that we had. You reached out to me and you said, I'm trying to market to men. Like, what am I missing? I want them to do this. I think it would be beneficial. So let's market to men. Why do you find this beneficial?
It just gives you, it's like a turning a switch off. And we messaged you a couple of months ago, but now I've dealt with more guys, women as well. But I've really found that now that there is that inherent will of the body to want to do things. You stretch and you feel better, you run, you get fitter. You do some mindfulness or meditation, it clicks quite quickly. With guys over 40, I've weirdly found that growing up without iPhones, smartphones, you can click into that mode quite easily if you're sort of not trained but mentioned or given a guidance how to do that. I grew up sitting looking out of a bus window. That's mindfulness. That's meditation. You don't think of that, but that's it. And younger guys, a lot of podcasts like yourself, they're open to the idea now. So people 20s, 30s that I deal with footballers who I thought was going to be an issue, they're like, oh, I've heard it on the TRUUMAN Podcast, I've heard it on Joe Rogan, I've heard it on Huberman. They've got that idea, but they don't know who to ask. That's where it comes in, really. So it's trying to get in within yourself and give you that turning off switch.
Do you think that you talk about men and like breaking this and doing that? I find men tend to be quite solution orientated. They're trying to find a solution to something. And you mentioned that they don't know who to ask. Do you think that there's a little bit of pride there, or do you think it's more a case of still that feminine side of it? What do you think is the next step to get more men to be more mindful?
I think it's starting to, people are starting to realize they've maybe got a problem and it can be fixed, and there's solutions out there for it. A lot of people are now open to the idea of, you know, finding help. But then with so many things like yourself, they're out there promoting it, putting that out there, a spectrum of, there is lots of things you can do, really does help people. And there is that stigma of, I don't want to ask for help. You know, you're taught from a young age, you know, man up. You know, that's a phrase I hate. You know, just man up, deal with it, struggle through it. You know, just be resilient, be tough. Being tough, it makes you break. It makes you brittle. You know, you have to be able to absorb and rebound. There is that. And the difficult part as well is you're always taught, keep going, keep working, keep moving, keep training, keep driving, faster, bigger, harder. Just sit down, be still. If you're always wired, you can see it as a bit of a threat. It feels hard to just sit and just be. You know, I should be doing something. That's kind of there as well. You're taking that mentality of drive to then just be still and be calm. And is it that simple? It's like, it can be if you can just start somewhere and then build from it. And it doesn't have to be a big process.
You obviously also do the running side of things, which is gaining in popularity. It's become trendy again. Jogging, as
jogging, yes. Very European.
It's pronounced, as Anchorman would say.
Yes.
But no, it is becoming more popular. And as you say, sort of those 20s, 30-year-old men are starting to pick it up. It's more, let's go to a running club rather than the bar or this and that. What have you seen change? Why do you think those attitudes have changed towards running?
I think people just are more understanding about the health. They realise that they have to keep your health without going too running technical on you, your VO2 max, your lung capacity. That's one of the biggest drivers for longevity. And if you're fit when you're young, you're fit when you're old. And it gives you that hip strength, that hip mobility. It stops falls. You're not thinking that when you're 30. But I'm 47 and I compare myself to guys that haven't been fit all their life and to myself, and I look and go, there is a big difference just in body composition. And I was lucky I moved to Australia and started surfing. You know, it's just, you've got shoulders and you don't carry a beard. There is that there, and guys are more body aware, more conscious. They don't want to be seen at the pub. You know, and let's be a little bit honest, guys are interested in, most guys are interested in ladies. Yeah, some guys are interested in guys, that's totally fine as well. But a lot of girls are into running. You're fit, you look better when you're running. But on that as well, I put for the local area, just a free, £2 donation. It was a running club, coach to 5K on the weekend, because a lot of running clubs are in the evenings, 5-6 o'clock in the evening. I can't go. I've been asked to coach them. I can't do it. I've got 3 young children. If you're busy at work, you can't do it. Sunday morning, put it on all the Facebook groups, everywhere else. I had lots of responses. And how many men came to it, do you think, for the free couch to 5K jogging? Not a single one. Okay. I had 10 ladies turn up on day one. I've had a check today. I had 6 messages from men, backwards and forward. I'd like to come, guys like to come. Right, not a problem. It's a beginner's group. I posted pictures of everybody that was doing it. You know, so there was, not a single guys came. And I've had 15 women that come regularly, and there's about 8 that come each week. And now some of them are running a 5K, but not a single guy turned up. And it was marketed the same, spoke the same, all the contact was the same. And I kept going backwards and saying, come on, I don't want to run. I want to be from the slowest. There's a lot of competition with men, I think, as well. And yeah, that's a big issue.
It's really interesting because I'm having this conversation a lot around male loneliness, male isolation. And we see groups men's group specifically, and then you go all the way through to something like yourself that you're offering, which is a running group. But you've got people that are interested, yet they still won't turn up. Is there something that you want to say to men? Is there something that you want to make men aware of, that it's like, I just feel like if you get there, you'll be so much happier. But this battle that we have in our internal selves, why do you think it exists?
It just seems to be as if it's a weakness or an excuse. It is, I would say it's a sense of failure. You know, I've got to go to a coach. I should know how to run. Yeah. Go to a group. I don't want to go. I don't want to be the slowest there. I don't want to be, I'll be too good for them. I won't be this. It's just go. It's easy. I don't want to do breath work. Why not? You breathe every day. Just, breathe better. Do what you're doing, but just do it better. That's it. Guys are going running, and I see them all the time. And I've said to a couple of them when I've been out for a jog, I'm like, all right, how you going? All right. Chatting to them. So, well, I work as a coach. Oh, yeah. So, do you want to do? And I'm right. So, oh, okay, cool. So I'll run with you there. And there's no interest. Do what you're doing. Do it smarter. No. I know what I'm doing. I'm going ahead with it. Great. You keep doing you. It's just go, try, be open. And that's the thing. It's, hold yourself lightly in your hand. Go somewhere. Try and fail. And I keep saying to men, ladies as well, that I coach, don't be childish, but be childlike in your wonder of the world. Don't forget that. I look at my kids and everything they do it wholeheartedly. That's mindfulness. If you're going out for a jog, go jog, go run, go to a group and try, be open. Nobody's going to be judging you. They're all feeling the same.
No one cares, do they? I think once you get to that,
you're too worried about yourself. You're not looking at that guy. You're going, oh, I feel this, I feel that, everybody's feeling that. So just go. Nobody will even notice you're there.
Yeah. Well, unless you say hello to a few people.
Yeah, well, that's, you can hide, it's fine, but just go.
I've had countless stories where there's groups of people and there's always that one guy going, who's going today? Like, they're not saying they're going, they want to know who's going to be there so that they've got this security. And I genuinely do think male loneliness is linked to the self and your just inability to let go. I speak about this a lot, and maybe you can attest to this as a man in this situation. It's very easy to use the kids, the wife, and everything else as excuses. Why do you think men do that?
I think I'm thinking of myself here as well. I do that. I put a lot of stuff off. I think put a lot of pressure on to be a good husband, a good dad, help around the house. I'll stay there. I'll do this. I won't go out. I'll put the kids to bed. I'll do that. I've been working all day. I feel guilty. I should stay at home. So there is that as well. A bit of laziness, but also a bit of guilt. I think guys now realise that they don't have a great work-life balance. A lot of them, particularly a lot of high-end executives I speak with, I deal with, they don't have a great work-life balance and they feel guilty. But then when they come home, they're not really present. They're not really there. They're still thinking about a bit of work, or they're like, oh, I wouldn't mind doing this. They'd be better off coming home, going to a running club once a week and have 4 good nights at home, but have one out, one active night out. Go play 5-a-side football with your mates. But the time that you're home, be active. Be present, be aware, be with your children. I know it's hard. You come home from school tired and they're crying or shouting, I don't want to do this. But it's be there, be present, get through it. That's the thing. And then don't be lazy. There's a bit of laziness. You just go, I'm not going to bother. I'm going to watch the telly. I'll sit down. I'll do that. Do something else. Add something to your life, even if 5-10 minutes. That's the hard part. I think a lot of people feel guilt and feel that everything has to be. Guys tend to think of, I'll do this. It's a big gesture all the time. Go for a 5-minute walk around the block with your girlfriend and wife. They'll love you for it. If I said to my wife, look, let's go for a 5-minute walk around the block, put one of the kids in the pram, she'd love that. 5 minutes with me. I'm never going to suggest that. Oh no, you have to go for a big long walk. It has to be romantic. It has to be this. You know, do a bit of mindfulness. Oh, I'll be 20 minutes. Oh, no, 5 minute breath work. Take yourself upstairs. I'm gonna put the kids to bed. I do my breath work sometimes with the kids. I do some breathing, put them to bed. I'll get them down. I'll just lie beside them. Fill in time, but be active with your time. Add to it. You don't feel guilty about it. I lie beside my daughter last night. She was wanting the story, read a story. Dad, can you stay for a bit? Yeah, it's nearly 8 o'clock. I've got things to do. I've got emails to send. I've got a business to run. Or I can just do 10 minutes beside my daughter who loves it. And I did breath work then. She fell asleep after 5 minutes, but I came back down and I still had 2 more kids to still get to bed. They were really tired, but I'd already did 10 minutes worth of breath work. I felt great. And my wife was like, oh, that was great. You're lying beside your daughter. I won't mention her name, obviously, but you're lying beside her. Yeah, she loved it. She went to sleep so happy and woke up this morning and mentioned, oh, I loved falling asleep beside you last night, Dad. I was like, oh, that's a great thing that I did. But I could have ran out and sent an email. I could have been on the phone. A small gesture. That's all that. That's what helps.
I think we spoke briefly about this around like the percentage amount that you'll see your kids when up to the age of 18. So it's like 98% is the time that's up to them getting to 18. The amount of time you'll spend with them is 98%. So that other 2% is 18 to the rest of your life, essentially.
Yeah.
So it is so important to be present, right, for those moments. And I think men, particularly high end, high exec, that sort of side of things, are really pushing the bounds of work because that's what they have been brought up as what they need to do, be the provider. And
that's what they hold. That's what they hold themselves. They identify themselves as that as well. A lot of the time, I'm a CEO. I'm a millionaire. I'm this. I'm a founder of this company. Yeah, but you're also a dad. You're also a husband. You might lose a couple of £1,000. But you're gaining so much more by taking a bit of time off, and you'll gain that in the back end anyway. You're never going to be worse off financially by spending time with your family or being more present at dinner time.
Yeah, amazing. Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about how some men listening might go, well, I want to be more present. Yeah, this sounds great. How do I get started?
All right. Well, I know we did. I think it was episode 69. You were doing a little bit of mindfulness. Like, I can do this if nobody's. Don't do it if you're driving. All right. No driving, no heavy machinery, not under the alcohol. All the usual warnings. But we can do it if you're up for it. A little bit of breath work just to demonstrate what your breath can do. A lot of people, when you're working, when you're footballers, executives, even driving, you're really stressed. You're in that fight or flight mode, that sort of mode. Your heart's racing, you're breathing through your mouth, you're up in your chest, you're feeling a bit tense, you're wired, you're on alert. So to switch that off, you get into your parasympathetic, which is your rest, restore, rest and digest and repair that system. When you can click that on, your heart rate drops, you breathe easier. But for a little demonstration, if you can hold roughly where you can feel this for everyone at home, where you can feel your pulse, your carotid artery works best, and just breathe in through your mouth, just normally. Feel your pulse, and just start to breathe through your mouth. A few deep breaths. However you want to breathe. Big 4. Now, how does that feel? Has your pulse moved? Is your pulse started to race a little bit? Heart rate's going up? All right, so now, that's you're moving that. So turn around and just breathe through your nose. Same rate of breath if you want. Suck it in through your nose. Blow out through your nose. Favourite. Breathe out again. Feeling your pulse. Now this time I want you to try and breathe in for 4. So in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Out through your nose. 2 for 6. 4, 5, 6. In through your nose. 2, 3, 4. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In through your nose. 2, 3, 4. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Simple. How did that make you feel? Was there any difference?
Yeah, it started to lower the old.
Lose your heart rate, but that was 4 or 5 breaths we did. We didn't move. You didn't do anything. It's biodirectional. If you tell your breath, let's move, let's get psyched up, but tell your brain the other thing, I need to relax. How do I do it? Extend your inhale, extend your exhale. Lowers your heart rate. starts to release good, nice, beneficial hormones for yourself. You start to slow down. Your mind starts to turn off, and then you can start to focus on your breath. Now, you do that for 5-6 minutes. That's releasing all that stress that you've done during the day. Now, that's something simple, just of a little demonstration of how your breath affects you, but just changing the cadence of your breath from 4 in to 6 out, that's giving you a little bit of relaxation time.
So for listeners, I'm sorry that you
Sorry. There was a lot of visual there in a way.
Yeah, but we'll write it in the description so that you
put it in there. Yeah, so you're really wanting if you extend to get that breathing through your nose, gets your diaphragm activated. Nice long deep breaths, takes the breath into the bottoms of your lung where most of the gas exchange goes, so you're going to absorb more oxygen, becomes more efficient. But then breathing out for the 6 seconds slows your heart rate down as well. So a slower, lower heart rate promotes a sense of relaxation, sense of safety, and a sense of calmness. So at the end of a day, so 4 in, 6 out through your nose can really just restore and reset that switch. And that's just something simple you can do for 2 minutes. Do it in the car before you go in if you've had a stressful drive.
There's a lot of stuff online around like the perfect morning routine or the millionaire's day routine, right? They pick these people. A lot of the people that you work with, and the guy that you basically got you into mindfulness, work with high level athletes, CEOs, founders, wealthy individuals. Why do you think that men will watch a YouTube video on how to have the perfect morning routine, yet they're told CEOs and execs and athletes and all these do mindfulness and help themselves reduce stress, yet they'll still wake up at 6 a.m., make some porridge and, I don't know, have an ice bath? Why are we so just against it? Like we're going to solve it today, Gordon.
The thing is, it gets me is why do people you watch the YouTube video because nobody finds out about it. It's your secret. You're there. Nobody knows that you're feeling like this. You don't have to tell your wife. You don't have to tell anybody. You can do that, and then you can try it when nobody's looking. It's a great step. You're admitting that what you're doing is not best practice for yourself. And you're trying to find a way through with it. Now, I do that exactly the same thing. The only issue is, well, why would you do that on YouTube but not get in contact with me or someone else and get one custom made? The hard part for it, for me as well, whereas a lot of people don't commit and don't continue with it. A guy I've just been working with the last 6 weeks, he's a management consultant, managing director. A lot of different companies get him in. He's an expert in sustainability. He's came to see me. He was very skeptical. Come to a few breath exercises, chatted about what he wanted. He's very anxious. Typical things, can't sleep at night. Did a few breaths with him, noticed the way he was carrying himself. He's very up and shoulders up near the ears, a lot of tension at the back. Couple of breaths, couple of stretches. Then the next minute there was a big bang, crack. All the tension that he was holding in his shoulders. And he's just went, that's the skepticism gone. I said, what are you talking about? He goes, that's it, it's gone for me. He goes, I've been going to a chiropractor and you've managed to crack where he cracks. I said, no, I didn't. You did. You just released that tension yourself. You put yourself, your body doesn't want to hold on to tension. Your body doesn't want to feel like that. You've given it the ability to not feel that. So then we built over the last 6 weeks a morning routine. It was 5 minutes. He was, okay, what do you do? So I have a coffee. A little bit of breathing while you're making your coffee. Do you sit? Do you stand? Sit outside. Take yourself away from the house. So that's what he did. Then we added a couple of stretches the next week, a couple of movement. Now he's built that up from going from 1 minute. Now he's got a 15-minute routine and he feels better. And I know that you'll enjoy it. He went back to the guys he plays golf with once a month and he's playing golf better because he's now breathing better and he's now got more postural awareness. And if he's playing golf, he's there, he's hitting the ball smoothly, he's playing better. And all the guys he's playing with, they're all guys he's known for years. They all work. What have you been doing? That's what I've been doing. It's been great. And of course, not one of them have contacted me yet. but I think it's adding too much too soon. Take it, just have a coffee away from your phone at the back door. Do that for a week. Breathe maybe when you're making your coffee. Then add a stretching. I do qigong. We can do You can do a nice easy stretch. It's just add that to there. Morning wake up, little stretch, a little bit of movement. Adding a minute each day is fine. Going from nothing to a cold bath, ice bath, a run, a breathwork session, everything in 20 minutes from 6 in the morning when nobody's getting up at 5:30 to do all that and then run out the door at 6, but they'll get up at 5:59 and do it. A little bit often and add to it. But add stuff that you're going to do. That's the thing.
We need to create a society of secret breathers.
Yeah.
I think that's the code. It's a secret.
It's just the gateway, and it's something you can do without weights. It's something you can do without. Then the breath comes. I went through from meditation. A lot of people try meditation. It's got great benefits. It's a tool to help you with mindfulness, but it's difficult. It's practice. I did not suddenly do this and do meditation. Go, bang, bang, that's it. Problem solved. Haha, that took me 2 minutes. It takes a lot of hard work and a lot of discipline to do that. Coming through and training my breath, it really just clicks in that meditation. But with meditation, anybody out there, if they're trying things, especially on YouTube, don't worry about the thoughts coming in and out of your head. Think of that as meditation, meditative time. It's time for your thoughts to get out of the body. Release them, acknowledge them, but let them go. Think of it as standing on a tube in London. You're not looking at every carriage that comes past. Acknowledge it's a train. It's a thought. It's past. It's gone. It's come. It's past. It's gone. But just keep yourself there. Have a bit of inner stillness while your thoughts go past you.
You mentioned the morning coffee. Something that I've been doing recently is I bought a stovetop. So for those that don't know, it sort of looks like a kettle, metal concept. You put the water in the bottom, you put the ground coffee in the top, it gets heated up on the hob, and the steam pushes through, so it's a bit like an espresso. But the process of making that coffee rather than cup instant hot water allows me to sort of slow down, like a complex coffee. It just doesn't take much longer. If I'm being brutally honest, it's pretty simple to do, but there is a few fiddly bits, a bit of a twist, a bit of a tip and pour. Like, what's your opinion on that? Like, might it be good?
Perfect. That's it. That's mindfulness. It is some people go, it's not. It is. You're putting your whole self into making that coffee for you in the morning. Looking at kids, mindfulness, can you wipe up that table? You get upset with them. I'll do it because they do it with their whole being. You're there focusing on your coffee. I'm going to enjoy my coffee. I'm going to make my coffee. Putting the scoops in. You have to tamper it down, I believe that's right, isn't it? Tamper it down. Putting the water in, turn it on, turn the stovetop on. Stand there for 2 minutes. Not watching it, waiting for it. Put a bit of toast in, but you're there. Stay off your phone. That's perfect. 4 in, 6 out breaths. You're waking up while you're doing some breath work while you're coffee. And then you're sitting there with a nice coffee that you enjoy and go, I enjoyed that. I made that. To me, that's mindfulness. That's something you're doing wholeheartedly for enjoyment.
I think a lot of men miss that step. And I sort of want to explore this and sort of see how you get maybe your thoughts on it. We mentioned golf. You get maybe a club thrower. They're not mindful playing golf, but you may have a golfer who's quite chilled playing golf, and that for them is their mindful space. Have you had any thoughts around how men find where they're already being mindful in inverted commas without them realizing, and allowing them to then sort of replicate those thoughts?
Yeah, you're right. There is so many of them. Most people are doing something each day that they find mindful, but they call it something else or they don't realize it. But then when you say that, they go, oh no, but that's just what it is. But being aware of that you're doing and taking that into something, that's the same as well. It's finding those moments of calm and taking them out through the day, acknowledging what you do is good for you. That coffee's good. Next time you make a coffee during the day, it's the same thing. Brewing a tea that it's very anti-health, but a lot of people that smoke cigarettes, that's their time now as well. I'm not promoting cigarettes, but imagine that from someone, you're in an office, you can't smoke in an office anymore. I've had enough of this. I've had enough of these emails. I need a break. I'm walking outside. I'm going to light a cigarette. I'm going to stare at the clouds and do that. Is totally unhealthy, but that's taking yourself away from a situation. But somebody in an office that goes up, makes himself a coffee and a cup of tea, I enjoy that. Ah, that's it. Yeah. Oh, just have a thought away. Having a thought away, that's mindfulness, that's meditative. So there are lots of little things like that people do.
That for me is like a big hurdle for men, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, I would never do that. But you're already doing it. Like if we went through something, if we went through a week, we would find at least one moment.
Acknowledge what you're doing. Take your good habits, acknowledge. That's what I run through with a lot of guys, a lot of football players. They're doing that already. This is where you're doing it. And it's the thing of a thin end of a wedge, giving them agency on what they're doing. What do you like? I like doing that because, good, this is what you're doing. That is beneficial from you. You're already thin end of the wedge. You're already doing some mindfulness there. You're already doing some breathing. You're already doing stretching. Let's change it up a little bit, or let's take that. How can we make that better? Whatever they're doing, it seems a bit cliche. Just do what you're doing, but just do it better. Do it more efficiently. It's not about running coaching. You go out running 6 days a week. I do 5 miles a day. I'm not getting any better. Fine. So you're still doing 35 miles. You need a rest. You need it breaking up. Put some structure in your day. The structure is not, it gives you freedom. It gives you more time. It gives you more awareness of time that you can get to yourself.
That self-reflection is really interesting. Like you say, a lot of men are sort of self-competitive or competitive with others, and if they're not improving in something or not getting better, they don't look at it sort of bird's eye view as like what they've actually achieved. Everything's almost in that insular moment of like, I've just ran 5 miles and it's my 7th slowest. Like that for me is horrendous. But maybe 2, 3, 4 years ago, you speak to that bloke and go, we ran 5 miles today, and he's like, what?
Yeah, and he's puffed his chest up. He's the best he's ever done. It's Well, you do one thing well, you want to do 2 things. You're always striving for that, and as you say, a lot of guys don't step back and have the bird's eye view. I see guys at the park, they're there on the phone, they're all stressed and everything like that. You just chill. just honestly chill. You see the picture behind me, not good for the viewers, but it's a place I went surfing all the time when I grew up in Australia. You would sit on a board. It's hard work. Surfing, you've seen it. Guys up there, you get smashed by waves. It's hard, it's there. But a lot of the time, you're just sitting on your board, staring at the horizon, doing absolutely nothing, waiting for a wave, waiting for the ocean to grant you a wave. Guys that work with that's mindfulness. Oh, no, it's not. It is. You're just sitting there, chilling out, staring out the window. That's it. Taking things that you can do and just adding a little bit of benefit to them. But acknowledging what you're doing is the biggest thing. Give yourself a pat in the back when you do stuff. That's a lot of guys don't take that time. They don't have that support network, or they're afraid that their mates are going to take the mick out of them. They generally do. But it's I'd like just mates to be a bit more supportive, a bit more. Oh yeah, I've done 5Ks. Yeah, so what? I can do 6. Well done. Yeah. Well done. Don't say the next bit.
Some of that comes from an air of jealousy, right? I think that's just classic Mick take, right? It's if you can learn that, you're okay. That's probably the first thing I would do.
That's it.
You mentioned doing breath work beside your daughter, and I know that you have other children as well.
Yeah, 3.
Yeah, well done. To stay mindful as well.
Having them's the easy part.
Yeah. Why don't we talk a little bit about what you're seeing as, one, the benefit from staying present in their sort of development and their growth, and what your hope for them in the future is based on how you are as a man, based on the sort of breath work and mindfulness that you implement?
I can categorically say that what you do as a parent affects how your children. Everybody knows that. Now, I'm lucky. I'm a stay-at-home dad. To code, my wife loves the job, very good, and was able to work from home. Just with COVID, coaching, couldn't see people. But now kids are getting older. I've taken on a lot more clients. I'm busier, but most of my work is online and remote. So I've got a lot of time with my kids around. I do a lot of work in the evenings, a lot of work in weekends. But I've noticed that my kids, they do a bit of mindfulness in nursery. but they do breathing, they do breath work. I try and stretch. I've got problems with my lower back from so many years skiing and surfing, weirdly. It's great things for you, but you end up very sore. So I do stretching. I do a bit of yoga, but they do that. They join in. And my 1-year-old, I was doing some stretches last night on the ground, just trying to open up my hips. And my wife said to me, look at her, look what she's doing. It was the exact same stretch I was doing last night. She was trying. Now, if you're doing a good practice, something good, like yoga, like breath work, like stretching, like being there for your kid, that must be the best gift that you're giving them. Getting off your phone. These are all healthy things that you're imparting on your kids, and they're sponges. And then I do qigong as well. There's bamboo in the wind. You're closing your eyes, holding. It's a great pose. And then my daughter was doing one. She had her arms moving her head. I said, "What are you doing?" She's going, "I'm doing a big tree in the wind," but she was breathing and moving. And I'm there thinking, that's just a gift that I've given her, to be open, breath, mindful, joyous, and explore and do something nice with your body in the living room, having a laugh, her and her brother. I would say that's the thing. Being present, doing little things each day can really drive a positive role model to your kids, but also they love doing all that stuff with you. Do your stretching, they'll jump on top of you. Doesn't help your stretching, but it's fun.
Amazing. We've spoken a little bit about how men should be getting into mindfulness, how some men are getting into mindfulness, and hopefully we've sort of bridged the gap on getting some of those men into mindfulness. Mm-hmm. But let's take a look at the men's space as a whole. Is there anything that particular that you like right now? And based on all of your experience, is there anything that you want to see more of?
The thing I like a lot about, I mentioned I work with football players, the place we're at, Central Scotland, there's all the teams are all close by each other. Some admit they work with breath coach, some don't. But down in England, there's Cole Palmer. He's saying that he's working with breath coaches. Virgil van Dijk. That's people that are actually using it in media with a voice, doing something with it. Admitting that they're doing that is great. It's just getting publicity out there. One of the world's best left backs do it. Oh, could I do it? It's not going to make you a world's best left back, but you can probably still do it. You probably have the same benefits. So I just think there's a lot of people being out there and being open about it. Podcasts like yourself, being out there speaking about it, and just getting that awareness that it's not hippie sandals, dreadlocks, hair shirts, sitting in a hut going, it's not. That's the big thing that I really think is great now. It's really starting to gain traction. It's never going to help somebody with my dad or something like that. He's never going to change. This is how funny he is. He got ran over. He was moving his hand the other day. I said, "What's up with you?" He's, when I get ran over by that car. I was like, "What do you mean ran over by a car?" He said, when I was in Spain. I was like, "What, a car hit you? You bang?" No. It ran me over, and then I got up, and then... This is the first I've heard that he's getting run over by a car. Like, you're insane. Did you go to the doctors? No, I thought it would be okay. And I'm like, so I think there's a massive generation from him in his 70s that get knocked over in cars to guys that are now going, actually, I maybe have a wee problem. I could do that. But that's the thing that I'm seeing coming. That's a main encouragement. The thing I would like to see more of is changing the language around it, like changing that for kids, things like man up, it doesn't help. That's tough to do this, but brace yourself against the world. That I would like to see change. The good thing about it is that everybody's getting into fitness now, and that's not a bad thing. A lot of guys, probably yourself included, I know you work in finance, I believe that was quite an unhealthy environment. I'm 47. It was an unhealthy environment when you were 18. A lot of people that I now know, say at 18, aren't going out and drinking. They're not going out and going to clubs. They are more aware. So I think it's breathing into everybody's consciousness just to be healthy. So I think everything's going in the right direction, but there's just that little stigma, that little push. Just get involved and let people know you're doing it. That's the thing as well.
Amazing. Gordon, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for my breath work. I enjoyed it this morning.
No problem, sir. Do it with your coffee tomorrow.
Sure. If people have liked what they've heard and they want to find out more, where is the best place to find you? And I will leave the final thoughts with yourself.
No problem. Well, it's Gordon Moffat Coaching. burnout.com. I'm on Facebook, Instagram. I've got a lot of little videos on Instagram as well. See, pop on there. I'm not saying engage me for breathwork, but I put lots of little things out there that you can just add to your day, and just, I would say, start small. Reach out to somebody, whether it's me or not. I do free consultations. Give us an email. Set up a 15-minute chat. It might not be for you now, but put that process involved from the future. Invest in your health. You might come back to it one day and think, I'll give that a try. Oh, that's it. So try lots of things. Not everything's going to work for you. Be open. Hold your identity lightly in your hand. You'll change. I'm a runner. I might get injured and not be a runner tomorrow. I'm not going to let that lack of running define me. I'm still going to be a dad. I'll be a granddad one day. Be bamboo. Move, adapt, but be strong when you need to be. That's what I think. Don't be too strong all the time.